What's up, everybody? Got Dan Gibbs here. And Dan, you started Client Ascension at 10K a month. You're at 80K a month now. Could you let us know, what are you selling? How are you getting the customers? And kind of what's your story? Like, what happened here?
Yeah, of course, mate. So I'll start from the beginning. We actually started out in Amazon FBA, funnily enough. Scaled like an exporting business pre-Brexit for the guys that are, or girls that are kind of like in the UK side of things. It was a lot easier to sell on Amazon back then. We essentially scaled the company, invested loads of profits into a logistics business. Never do that. The margins were so bad. But essentially, we scaled that at the same time. Started looking at everyone on Twitter who was essentially running agency offers. We'd worked for Amazon kind of prior to that. So we had quite a good technical skill to be selling in terms of like Amazon account management. It was moderately all right. It was high ticket for us at the time. We were anywhere between £800 and £2,500 a month. It was like, wow, big things. But essentially, we had never like generated demand before. That was kind of the real big bit that I want to kind of go into here, especially with Client Ascension, because we started out in logistics. We kind of grew it through referrals and recommendations, and we never really had like a sustainable model to properly grow the business with. So when we actually moved into the agency space, I think we were like so sick of just constantly going through referrals and recommendations. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing to have on your back in terms of being like, oh yeah, I can grow through a great service, but like when you can't forecast demand, you can't really plan the business properly, and it just leads into a lot of issues of scalability. So yeah, started in Amazon. We then kind of came into Client Ascension, which, by the way, I'm a massive skeptic. So I kind of sat on the sidelines for quite a while, kind of like watching you like kind of post out all the wins constantly. And I was just getting massive FOMO all the time. And I think we finally took the leap into it kind of midway through the Amazon brand stuff, mainly because we were working on Fiverr at the time. I think that was like the main way of us getting leads through into the business. We were sick of it. Earned enough money, invested in, never looked back. I think essentially when we started genuinely going out and A/B testing in the market, that's kind of when we turned around and we were like, okay, we're selling an offer right now, which is Amazon brand management. Okay, it's good, but we're booking like 1 to 2 meetings a day max, and we were going out pretty hard. The ICP was pretty hard to find as well, because you're having to find brands that are wanting or are on Amazon, and you kind of have to like make yourself better than their agency, etc., etc. But what we did from our logistics business is we were really good, basically, systemizing down processes. So making it like processes that would run completely by themselves. And I think we kind of took those learnings, and when ChatGPT came out, like, I don't know, 11, 12 months ago or whatever we're on now, it opened such a massive possibility on what you're able to do inside of Zapier, like in no-code workflows. And I think we just got obsessed in our own agency of like automating everything. And it got to a point where once we automated our entire brand agency, we turned around and we were like, what we've done with our agency here is way more valuable than selling Amazon brand like kind of management. So we quickly pivoted out of that into AI. And my God, like we're probably, in terms of interested leads, they all go into a funnel, obviously, but we've gone from like maybe 5 a day to like 40. And I think this is kind of why we're just like, why mine coal when you could mine gold? I think is kind of the overarching thing we've said to each other.
Yeah, dude, I remember you joining, and it was like week 3 or something. You're like, yeah, just got this $50 million company on the phone. Just got this one, closing this deal, closing this deal, closing this deal. It was an absolutely absurd amount of volume that was just drived into the business. Now I'm going to assume that you're just doing the exact same thing with AI.
Yeah, 100%, mate. That one there, actually, crazily enough, we were only in the program for like a month and a half, I think. And we ended up bagging I think it was £120 million company in the UK for like a full digital transformation project as well. So like that was the first time where we turned around and we were like, holy shit, like you can genuinely get these massive contracts out of a cold email to a CEO. And I think we just got like addicted at that point. Like the moment that happens and you get like a bit of a proof of concept in your mind, you're like straight away, you're like, okay, how do I just replicate this at scale? So kind of the last 12 months, really, I don't know how we can kind of run through here with, I don't know if I can share my screen, but like I can show you what we've done on the inside, basically, if we talk about like scalability later in terms of just massively automating everything. But it really all comes from having the confidence that you're able to forecast demand. The moment that happens, we turned around and we were like, right, if we can get even 10 people a day interested in our service, how the hell are we going to fulfill? Let's say we sign one, I don't know, like 5% of them, and you may be signing like, I don't know, 10 clients a month. That's a lot of clients for a small agency to like kind of really fulfill. And I think we're like super inherently lazy at heart. So we just wanted to kind of find a way that was almost funneling the entire activity. And we've kind of pieced together a bit of we call it like an operating system in terms of like what we actually sell in now, because we really believe that we can just kind of take a company end to end, figure out what they're doing. And I mean, I don't know kind of your or everyone else's experience that's watching it kind of with ChatGPT, with AI, going a bit deeper into LangChain and kind of what you can really do there. But like, my God, man, it's scary, actually. Like the results that are coming out of what you can do with this technology, I just feel like anyone who's starting now in business, you've got like the biggest arbitrage curve ahead of you in terms of like what legacy businesses aren't able to do. We're like looking at it and we're sitting on a call and like our guarantee is disgusting. Like our guarantee right now is like, I think we have an outsized guarantee that's running right now. So like if we don't hit certain deliverables within 90 days, we give them $5,000. We literally flip it because we're just so confident with the results that are coming through from AI that you can just easily put these guarantees in. And when you have something like that in the market, I think that's kind of why we've just spent so long trying to automate everything, because we kind of see it now as just like a real straight shot up to, I don't know, I want to say, I feel like the next target's got to be that 150 mark maybe, but you got to just see if it all scales, right?
Yeah. So you're at 80,000 pounds a month. So what is that in dollars? Like 110, something like
about
that?
10, I'd say.
Yeah. So, you're seven-figure business off like primarily cold email. Is that like the main acquisition channel?
Oh, mate, I would say like 95% cold email. I reckon. Like we're starting to spin up the content game now, mainly because again, all we're doing is just automating our entire kind of content procedure and then having it all come through. So you'll see I've literally just started a brand new Twitter account. I'm finally getting back into the grind of it. But I think the general plan is we kind of wanted something at least to go out into Twitter with real value. And I think all we're basically going to do now is just take every one of the systems that we've created inside of our business and just kind of show people like what is possible, I think. So yeah, content game coming soon, I reckon.
So what is like how much are you charging? Like what is the offer price to these people?
Yeah, so it completely depends on how quickly they want it, I guess. We've just had one come through in probably, what are we in now? October, what's before that? September. That was 6 weeks for the best part of like 60 grand, right? Like just in like straight up, mainly because I think we're quite ballsy on the fact that we were like, no, we can deliver this in this time. And they were like, okay, cool. If you can do that, we'll give you a big bonus. But our standard offer price probably ranges between 6 to 10K a month. And we're trying to sign on for 12-month contracts. But I'd say like the value of what we put in is, I don't think we've really like realized the value just yet, just because like when you put in the foundation into someone's business, where essentially what we do at a very high level is we'll first map out like everything that happens in your business. We'll then put in a project management system inside of your business where every action in your customer journey or operating teams are completely tracked. So everyone knows what they're doing anytime in the business and everyone's just got total visibility. The moment we do that, we then obviously do all your no-code workflows. So we make sure that everyone's getting alerted, or your like reporting is completely automated. And the final bit on top of that is like the kind of the sprinkle of it is then doing a lot of the automation with AI. And that's where you kind of really start doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So kind of, it's like all the follow-up emails. And it's like if you were to plan a podcast, for example, instead of like spending an hour or two on like those little things, you can just kind of have it done instantly. And I think what that's allowing us to do is we're able to be almost creating systems inside of AI that would usually probably cost, I don't know, a hire of £40,000 a year in the UK to come in like a marketing executive. But because AI does all the heavy lifting for you, you're able to essentially just set up a system that can run automatically in the background, and you can hand it off to kind of a member of maybe one of your operational teams. We're a big believer in offshoring as well. We've had unbelievable success with it. So yeah, to us, it's just kind of about trying to tie up and just I've always had this like thing of wanting a business in a box, like literally my phone. I've wanted to see everything in a row, like really fucking easily. So I think we're kind of just slowly moving towards that. And then maybe what we're growing at the moment could translate into a piece of SaaS down the line, because we're kind of just laying out the blueprint.
You definitely should. What's up, guys? Real quick, if you want to get results like Dan and grow your agency or your B2B business and get new clients with cold email, head over to the link in the description, clientascension.com, and we will make sure that we help you out. I want to talk about guarantees, because obviously you have one. And what happens a lot is there will be some dudes and they'll come in and they're trying to sell their stuff and it's probably not magnificent in any capacity, and they're trying to sell it to companies. And obviously someone's going to come back and be like, well, you're saying you can do this, but how do I know? and the dudes might not have case studies, then you tell them to make a guarantee and they're like, no, I don't want to have a guarantee because what if this, and they're being a pussy about it. What is your take on guarantees if you have one?
Yeah, I mean, like, you've got to be good at what you do. You genuinely have to be able to fulfill the thing. They're like, if you're giving a guarantee and it's all smoke, then like you're literally a snake oil. Like, you're literally selling someone a dream and you don't know that you can deliver it. Like,
my argument is that if they can't give a guarantee, they're a snake oil salesman, because it's like you're asking for someone's money, and it's a very reasonable thing for them to say, well, what if it doesn't happen?
Yeah.
Guarantee.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like because realistically, if you believe you're going to succeed in a market, you've at least got to be better than the average. And if you're better than the average, you've probably got to like say to yourself you can deliver it. And I kind of think it's quite motivating. Like, I quite like having a lot of like downward pressure. And I think for the team, it's really good as well, mainly because everyone kind of has a goal to rally around. It's like you have material consequences. We don't get paid if we don't deliver it, right? And then, well, not even that, we have to give out money, which is even worse, right? So like, it kind of massively rallies the team to an extent where, yeah, I think it's crucial. I think it's absolutely crucial, but you've just got to be making sure you can do it, which is obviously a bit of a ridiculous thing if you're in an agency anyway and you're trying to run a business. So
I think most people think they have a lead gen problem, which a lot of them do. They do have a lead gen problem, but most people actually have a sales problem. And when you come on and you say like, oh yeah, I charge like 6K a month, 10K a month, and you decide you've got like a 60K package or something like that, a lot of people can't even conceptualize how that's even conceivably possible. How do you run your sales processes, or like what's your kind of theory?
What's really funny, and this might be quite nice for people listening, when I first joined Client Ascension, I literally said to my girlfriend, I went, if I ever sell something for 10K, like, holy shit, that is amazing. Like that was like nearly a year ago, probably. That was it. And like all that's happened in my sales process is every time I've sold something, I've just become confident that I can sell it, and I've slowly moved it up. I wouldn't recommend anyone suddenly starts trying to sell a 10K offer, because like the nuance in trying to sell that offer, I think the frame of conversation really switches, because you've just got to be so unbelievably confident in that you can deliver something like that, because your competition around you are really good. Like the people that are doing that are really good at fulfilling it. So like in terms of like the sales process, it is, it's a lot more drawn out, I'd say, but like we have like 6-page proposal documents, like everything is documented. Like it is really, if there is a piece of information that they want, there are case studies, there are testimonials, we have referrals from people that we've done really well that we put in contact with. And I think it is just stacking that level of social proof when you get them on. But it only ever comes from practicing and slogging yourself through it. And like, I think a lot of people can get quite put off when it comes to sales. I think you're right. I think the main agency problem is anyone can kind of learn the lead generation side of it, because you can sit behind a screen and you can follow the instructions there. When you come to doing sales, it's a hell of a lot more nuanced, and you've really got to understand like what the person on the other end is trying to get. And 9 times out of 10, they're not actually buying off your company, they're buying off you. So you've kind of got to make sure that you're kind of in the right frame for it. But yeah, there's a hell of a lot that goes into it, man. Like I'd say it completely depends on your offer for what you're trying to go for. But the more that we move into high ticket, the more kind of addictive we've found it. And I think it's quite lucky, because our entire business model acts as a flywheel, because all we basically do as a business is we improve and automate and perfect our own systems, and then we just sell them through into kind of like businesses around us who kind of want that, or if it fits their customer journey or their business model. So it's always really helped us as we've gotten kind of bigger and bigger customers. And we do take punts, by the way. Like we will hear someone who will turn around and we will say, this is our business, this is our problem, can you work on something like this before? And there might have been a case where we've not actually worked on an area like that, but we'll back ourselves and we'll put ourselves in like a situation where we are sinking or swimming. And I think kind of to this point, we've just kind of made it out each time. And it's just kind of the confidence of knowing that you kind of know your own zone of competence, I think is what I'm going for there, is kind of it's a bit of a self-awareness game, I think, maybe when it comes to sales.
I feel like the problem most people have is they come up with some offer and some specific pricing. And if you don't get every single lead that comes through to fit very cleanly into this arbitrarily made box, they just think like, oh, that wasn't a qualified. It's like, no, this is like a negotiable sales process. Like you're like, you don't even make 10K a month. Like you're not like this enterprise thing where you only do it like this. focus and you can even warrant doing that in the first place. Like, it's not like that. Everything is going to be negotiable. When you get large, like real big, you got like 40 case studies, you're at like $500,000 a month, then you can start requiring people to fit in some specific box. But I think the way that people screw this up is they think everything has to be so clean inside this specific box with no work. And I think this is so important, where if we sit here and we talk about like a 6K a month deal or a 10K a month deal or something like that, people think it's just, oh, everything is a one call close. And it's like, no, like my brother in Christ, this might take like 2, 3, 4 months. You might hop on the call like 5, 6 times. You're going to have like 125 email back and forths. And the thing you need to do is work hard for every single individual deal.
Yeah, we literally traveled for the 120 million pound company. We traveled 4 hours 3 times to meet them in person before we even closed it. So like big shit has to happen to make big shit happen. I think is kind of like the way that we see it. And I think kind of to your point on the face value side of it, I think a lot of people, they come into kind of like, they look at offers, right? And they see an offer and they'll be like, right, I'm going to do email marketing, or I might do lead generation, but they see lead generation as I'm going to send 10 emails a day instead of kind of the wider solution wrap of I'm going to help your CRM. I'm going to help your pricing and proposal system. I'm going to make almost the end-to-end part manageable. And I think when you're able to kind of see the end-to-end of where your solution starts and really ends to help the prospect, that's kind of where you can start solution selling in. And that's where they feel like you are able to genuinely understand their business, because you're actually saying to them, you are here. You need to be here. Like, I'm going to get you to here with basically this investment. There's a guarantee over here to make sure that it happens. And like, it is like literally the Hormozy equation, right? Like, it is literally an equation of just making sure you cover all your bases. And you do that enough time on volume, and you do that enough time and you just practice it. It just becomes a little bit more second nature. But like, it's tricky. It is super tricky to do it. But then even to get to that 10 grand a month part can be life-changing money. So it certainly seems worth it. I'd say for the vast majority of people that are going about it.
So now, like, you've gone, like, you start 10K a month. That's probably the equivalent of like 13,000 a month. And then you get to 110,000 per month in dollars. What is now obvious to you after doing that you feel like an idiot for not just doing before?
Understanding the end-to-end customer journey is what I'd say. I think when I realized that there are businesses out there that are making 3 to 5 mil a year just because they have very loosely put together their customer journey, and they can promise a customer that they can get them from A to B, and they will take them through and they will make money from that. I think I was focusing way too narrow inside of the business at different points. When I kind of stepped back and I was just like, I'm going to figure out what I'm offering to someone, and I am going to map out every system that they are going to walk through. And we have like 44 systems basically, which hand off different actions to other people in the team. The second we did that, it gave me such a better kind of holistic understanding of kind of how the business works. We were then able to build like operational functions around that customer journey. So I think it's kind of understanding that what you're probably working on right now, you'd probably be better to just zone out, like kind of zoom out a little bit, see it from a little bit further back. And that kind of, I don't know, it's probably not the most coherent way of putting it, but I'd probably say like, you're right on it. It's don't think that lead gen is like the absolute be all and end all. It's like fundamentally important at the start of your business, and it always needs to happen. But once you've kind of got the system going, focus on retention, focus on your fulfillment methods. And I think that's kind of your flywheel to be making sure that you can start stacking your lead generation. Because if you're just going to spend every month of the year taking in 5 clients and 5 of them leaving you, you're literally never going to scale, and you're just going to be working your ass off just for like nothing, basically. But if you're able to obviously stack your fulfillment, stack your retention, make sure that everyone's stacking on top of each other, that's kind of where you see that like trending growth going upwards. And I think that's kind of what we've only recently like properly figured out. I think we certainly don't believe in any way, like the differences we see month on month always make us think that we are like so stupid in this game, just because we get to the end of the month and we're literally just like, how the hell would we run in our business like without that. So I think it's like constant self-improvement inside of the business, inside your own personal life as well, just being like laser focused on trying to make more of an impact than trying to make money. I think. And I think if you kind of look at impact over money, that's your own flywheel kind of in itself. But yeah, it's super nuanced, isn't it? Like it's pretty, it's an interesting one. I think it must just completely differ kind of per person. How do you find it mainly? What would you say?
I think what is obvious to me now is one, caveating the fact that everything you just said, where it's like, yes, end to end, like these are all individual components. If you were to just put them in a line, we have lead gen, sales, fulfillment. In order for your lead gen to work, fulfillment must work for the production of case studies. And then the case studies help you get more leads in the first place and then help you close more sales in the first place. So it's like this whole like interchanging holistic view. And I feel like one thing that's happened that I slowly get over time is kind of being scared to scale. And what I mean by that, people will say, I want to be at $1 million a month, which is like, cool. Yeah, I'm sure you want $1 million in your bank account per month, but you don't want the work that is required to fulfill upon $1 million per month.
If we had £1 million of business right now in our business, we would not sleep. We would not function.
Yeah, you literally wouldn't be able to do it right now. Like it's too fucking hard. Problem is that like you can only scale in step ladders because you have to, something breaks and then you have to fix it.
We literally call it just sprinting and consolidating. That's it. Like we feel like we sprint, the systems creep, and then we consolidate in by fixing it. And essentially what you were talking about before, we kind of see our customer journey as kind of marketing right at the front, which is all about just kind of brand exposure, just understanding that people might see us. We then go into lead generation. From lead generation, we go into sales. From sales, we go into commercial. Commercial, we go into onboarding. From onboarding, we go into service delivery, I think, which is basically fulfillment. I think this is just kind of like the model that we learned kind of coming up. But all we've then done is just massively stripped out every action inside of every system. And we're kind of just hoping realistically that because we can track every action that goes through every system, we can see where the bottlenecks pile up. So like right now, I know, for example, in our system called LG2, which is lead generation, which is basically our outbound CRM, I know for a fact that we have a massive buildup of people that we need to send collateral packs to. We need to send follow-up packs to because we're not getting to basically those people quick enough. And obviously we can then set targets over that. We can say, right, we want to be getting back to them in 30 minutes. If we're not getting back to them in 30 minutes, we can have a flag on our reporting that then tells us at a high level, this is what's happening. And I think the way we've kind of broken it down there is hopefully the bit that's giving me confidence that we can keep scaling this, because all that's happening in those sprinting and consolidation phases, I think now I'm praying kind of hopefully we're going to get to that. I can see 150 being the point we have that next consolidation, because it's going to turn into a lot of managers. It's going to turn into probably account managers we're going to properly have to hire. Because right now I've got two of the business partners, which are like unbelievable and like kind of help and support that. So we are lucky in the way that we can have at least some form of sales and external facing kind of support that's helping us. And then a lot of our support systems are done through a lot of like kind of offshore teams. We call them global teams because they're literally part of our company. They're brilliant. I think it's probably going to be that 150 mark. The account managers have to come in almost like maybe we hire sales staff. I do a lot of sales myself right now, just because I feel like you can understand the market so unbelievably well when you're at the front of your business selling into people. And I think with AI right now, we are finding that like understanding people's perception of AI is like so interesting, because everyone has heard of it. Everyone has heard of it, but like the adoption rate inside of businesses is so low, mainly because everyone listens to the mainstream media and they literally think that like your data is at risk and oh my God, everyone's going to die. But it's such an easy way around it. But I think realistically, there's a very long-winded way on sprinting and consolidation kind of way of just saying, yeah, I think it's always going to be like, where do you find it goes after 150? Is that where you're kind of getting executive people to come in and really handle a lot of the higher level management, or how did you find it in your experience?
One, you're going to need salespeople. Like it's just necessitated. Like you're going to have a really difficult time doing that because you need to like actually operate the business. You can't just be running sales all the time. So I'd recommend you do that like right now, actually, is get someone and have them hop on calls with you and shit and like shadow you for a while. So one, that has to happen. Somewhere around 150, you'll need account managers. And then what'll happen is when you're at like 250 or 300 is when you'll start thinking about having higher tier and lower tier offers that kind of play together in an ecosystem. Like you come in here, which leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to that's normally what you do at around 250.
Okay, so what, you're taking a bit more of like a funnel approach in terms of, because obviously I can imagine that's kind of what you've done with a lot of kind of like the smaller courses, your info products, to then up to a higher. You're basically just getting everyone at their level of need, aren't you? and like you're actually just helping your entire audience at any point.
Yeah, in a sense, it is a funnel. I think when people hear the word funnel, they think of like a click funnel. It's like, dude, we're talking about like a life cycle of an individual human's business, like their lifetime of what happens. So like, I mean, I sit here and I think about things where it's like, if I put someone through this low ticket over here, then in like a year, they'll be ready for this. And then another year after that, they'll be ready for this.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I certainly wouldn't look at funnel as like I don't think there's a negative connotation to funnel personally, mainly because if you're in the right funnel, you're going to reach the end and you're going to do well. So like just choose the right funnel is kind of like where I'd put that. And I think that's when, before we joined Client Ascension, what we were looking for was the right funnel. We knew kind of how it worked, but we were looking for the right provider that had enough, I would say, kind of credibility behind them and enough social proof, which obviously bang on about all the time. So important, right? That is what we looked for. And I think obviously we joined, and we certainly weren't disappointed. Like it's catapulted our business.
Good stuff, bro. I'll assume you have a bunch of stuff that you'd like to share with the audience, and I can.
Yeah, go on, man. Yeah, go on. I'll give a very quick run through. Let me share this. So we go big into. You're going to see basically we every month with Midjourney. We always you can see basically Sean at the top there, who's the system owner. We basically design all our project management system in a different theme every month, just to kind of keep the energy a bit higher with the team. This month is Matrix month in honor of. I don't know, fuck knows, it's just people on Twitter always chatting about the Matrix, I guess. But essentially what we're doing here in terms of what we set up for businesses, this is why we call it like an operating system. For one, we hate having everything run off a Google Sheet. It just kills me. It's so like unaesthetic when you're trying to like run a business on a day to day. And it's super hard for your average person that doesn't understand like just general functions and formulas and things like that. It's really tricky. So what we like to do is essentially build an entire flow through. So I'll give everyone on the call our entire business right now, if anyone wants to copy this. But you can see down the left-hand side, this is every system inside of our business. So we split it up by strategy, by product, by marketing, lead generation, sales, commercial, onboarding, service delivery, customer success, offboarding, and operations. Essentially, as you go down this funnel, if I take you just into our CRM, I think I've put some demo cards in there, so I'm not just going to give away all my clients' info. Let's have a look. Can you blur anything out in edit? So if we kind of look at like what we're looking at here, this is just our basic CRM. And the way that we like to kind of run our CRM is probably less complicated, I would say, than a lot of people. We simply just go from a new lead comes in from instantly. We obviously do prospect follow-ups to then book a meeting with them. We A/B test quite a lot between how committal we go as to whether we go straight for the meeting. Right now inside of AI, it's quite easy just to get a meeting straight away. So we go for that quite a lot. Then as you can see, the book meeting and meeting scheduled, we literally have 211 people in our CRM right now where we're not following up with them, which obviously isn't great, but we have a lot of kind of hiring to kind of help with that backlog. But I think we've scaled so quickly anyway that we're kind of at a point of that consolidation right now where we're turning around and we're like, it'd be stupid for us to take on a vast amount of new clients. So we're kind of picking and choosing a little bit. But once you get to the connected to commercial, essentially, as you can see, CO1, we go into commercial. And what you can see here is as you then go through commercial, you get a new proposal request and then you get proposal whip, right? And this is the bit I really want to stress of what we do as a business. The heavy lifting inside of creating a proposal is literally the creating a proposal. Whoever is going and creating the proposal right now is probably either using a template, which they're trying to insert bits of information into, or they are literally typing it from scratch every time and it's taking them hours and it's making them hate lead generation because they hate the amount of work that comes out of it. And I think all we do here is the moment it lands in proposal whip with any of the cards that you see, we have a label inside of Trello, which then acts as a trigger inside of no code, which then goes off into ChatGPT. We have a wonderful prompt behind the scenes that essentially takes the custom fields inside of Trello and just creates the proposal for you. And everything that we do inside of here follows that exact same mentality. And I would recommend anyone that is doing anything right now, trying to take advantage of AI, this is the easiest way you can integrate it in your business so easily. You see here, right, with contract creation, prospect agrees terms, collect the details. The moment it goes into contract creation, we literally hit a label and it generates the contract. It uploads it into PandaDoc. It does all of that lifting for us completely away from us having to do it. And it's turning our entire business into like a drag and drop format because anyone can run these systems because you're simply moving through shit. Do us a favor and edit that out. But essentially, as you go into like email management, all that happens, again, it hooks up with contract management. It comes through, it allows your team to just hit generate an invoice, it generates the invoice, it sends it automatically. And all we're trying to do, and like, I really mean trying, like we are literally just another company out there that's doing the exact same as everyone else on a day to day and just trying to kind of get an advantage in the market, is every system that we have is simply just connected to the next system. And we're just creating as much kind of training possible just to completely support everyone that's trying to basically just work inside of our business. And we're kind of finding that the more that we throw into this, the more of a flywheel that we're experiencing, because once you put in a system like that, it runs without you having to pretty much do anything. And as long as you can train someone up to then use that system, your churn becomes less of an issue because people know how to kind of run the system. They know what to do. I think now all we're trying to do is expand out and understand, obviously in our marketing department right now, if I kind of go up and check out marketing, we have like demo management, we have press releases, we have podcast management, like creating a brand for everyone else in kind of inside of the business. We have blog management, paid ads, and then we have social media. But like, you think about what a big company would have, they probably have the best part of 200 systems inside of their marketing. So it kind of makes sense that right now we're not making that amount of money that an enterprise would, because quite simply, we don't have the amount of systems that run on a day to day that produce value like they do. But what we do have is we have 44 systems which have a market rate of about 70 to 80,000 pounds a month to run, and we're running them for about £8,000. And so you kind of understand like the arbitrage between like using AI and just absolutely like flattening that like what you should be spending on these systems. And I think give it like 12 months, maybe the market will catch up. Like, I think all that's going to happen, they're going to have to see other businesses doing this straight away, because it is just ridiculous. It is thousands of % of productivity that you get on top of it. So like, I probably wouldn't hire anyone onshore now that doesn't have a pretty good working understanding of either some form of large language model or kind of, if you go a bit deeper in the application layer like LangChain. So it's interesting, man. But I think kind of on the future, what we're trying to do here, we have 2 apps that are in development in terms of software where we are doing exactly what you've just seen there. But imagine if you were able to type into a search box and you were able to say, I want to set up a product marketing function. What the app is doing is kind of going through AI. It's taking the entire business taxonomy backwards, and then it's telling you exactly how to set it up. End of the road in maybe 6 months, what we want it to do is we want you to be able to type into a piece of software, I want this system set up, and it is going to connect into your project management board, and it's going to create kind of what I've just shown you there. It's going to just create that in its entirety for you. And this is kind of why we're keeping on this like skills without training. Like, we really think it's possible, but at the same time, I probably wouldn't say to anyone, just go and do that without learning how to do it, because there is a big element of kind of like deeper level knowledge maybe that you need. But again, like I feel like we've not been in the period of making a lot of money for a long time. So I feel like I'm not really at that point. I'm still learning so much kind of as we're going through here. But I think all we're going to do basically is just share what we're doing, simply because it seems to be the way that you're able to get into a market real cheap. And I think we've bootstrapped, at least from the very beginning, we bootstrapped. So we understand what it's like when you start a business and you're literally by yourself. You're out there just kind of going, you can hang in there. Anyone that's watching this, I'd say.
Yeah, and I'm sure you got some links to share with them. So whatever you do have, it's going to be in the description. So whoever wants to get access to whatever Dan has, all of it is going to be in the description. You can go check Dan's stuff out. Go follow him. I'm sure he's got some really good value he's going to share.
Soon, when the system gets set up. But yeah, 100%, we'll be sharing everything. Just look, all the big guys in the market seem to do it. Seems to work. So I think we're just going to literally follow the exact same playbook. Happy days.
Appreciate you coming on, my friend.
Anytime. Thanks to Client Ascension, I guess, is the shout out. Yeah, nice one, man. Absolutely.
That's the interview with Dan. 10K a month to 80K a month. That's in pounds, so it was roughly 13K a month to about $110,000 per month. If you guys want similar results, head to clientascension.com. Link is in the description. And if you want to watch more, click on this video right here.